What is up, GoLow Pod? Fresh off a very highly rated Masters. I have some thoughts today on looking back at Augusta, one individual, and some other stuff that's going on in the golf world. You can listen right now, the GoLow Podcast on the 3 and Out feed. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify. We got you covered, as well as the AMP app. Download that bad boy. All of our content is live. You're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends. We have some GoLow merch right now. If you go to the Volumes merch store, just go to thevolume.com, click on GoLow. We got some polos, we got some trucker hats, we got some merch coming down the pike, so go check that out. Looks good. I got some on the way to me right now, as well as the U.S. Open's not that far away. I've been thinking about going. It's in Los Angeles this year. The PGA Championship, a lot of summer golf tournaments, as well as baseball, basketball, NBA playoffs. Highest ticket price right now, first round, Sacramento Kings. Don't sleep on the 916. And with the official ticket app of this podcast, Gametime, go to your app store, download the Gametime app, and just use the promo code John. You want to go to a game, you want to go to a concert, you want to get outside, you want to go to a concert, you want to go to a comedy show, I got you covered. $20 off, promo code JOHN, just my name, and go to an event. Take a loved one, take your son, take your wife, take a buddy, and go have a good time. Have a few brewskis, enjoy yourself with my friends at Gametime. Download the app right now, promo code John. You guys are hammering that promo code. Really appreciate you. I'm going to use it going to, I think, George Strait concert here in a month, Morgan Wallen, and definitely catch a game or two. So I'm very excited for the upcoming summer. Sun is out. It's hot. I wanted to start with Phil Mickelson. And there were obviously some early images before the Masters even started, him wearing the swag, the high flyers, that logo. And there's no way around it. I thought it was sad. And I've never thought it was sad that he took $200 million to leave. I'll say over and over, that can't bother me any less. I thought it was sad that one of the great individuals in just sports, I mean, one of the most famous guys going over the last, in my, adult life, 20 plus years, has just been rendered kind of a laughingstock. And one of the biggest personalities in all of sports. I mean, he would never stop talking. He was the life of the party. All the reports came out about the Champions Dinner. He couldn't talk. Not that he can't talk. He just didn't talk. And he was just kind of a mute. And to me, there's no way around it other than to say, like, that's kind of sad. It really is, because it's not like his personality is gone. But in a weird way, he looks defeated from all the arrows that he took. And this is a big reason LIV gave him so much money, is he was by far, his brand was bigger than every other guy they signed. Koepka, Cam Smith, DJ combined, because of the length, the longevity of his career, and obviously his success. But the cool part about the Masters is it's the only major where they return to every single year. And we have seen guys, what was the story that in 98, Tiger and Jack both finished in the top 10, and Jack was 58 years old. That older guys, Freddie Couples this year at 63 years old, made the cut. That you can have success because experience matters. Now, there's a difference between having success and being the oldest guy to ever finish top 5 at the Masters, as Phil just did. And the sad part about this, the way this is all played out, is not that we necessarily miss Phil on a week in, week out basis at Riviera, at the RBC Heritage, at Memorial. It's just that he's not around anymore. And when he does have success, it's like, this guy is right there. He just happened to be Peyton Manning and Tom Brady played at the same time, which was Tiger Woods. But when you look at the history of the sport in the modern era, like post-World War II, you're talking Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Lee Trevino, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson. Like, he's in that conversation. And to me, his accomplishment this weekend is probably not even getting its due. I thought Sunday was fucking awesome. When he hit that putt on 18 and gave that fist pump, it was hard if you love the sport and if you're somewhat my age and you've been watching golf, right, for a long time. He has played a massive role. He's obviously a 6-time major champion, but I don't think saying that out loud does it justice. He is never going to be Tiger Woods. Obviously Tiger is 80 plus wins. He's got 45. Tiger has 15 majors. He's got 6. But relative to everyone else, they can't hold his jock over the last 20 plus years. I look today. He's obviously never won the U.S. Open and had some devastating losses there. In 99, I think to Payne Stewart. I think it was 06 or 08 at Winged Foot. He has finished second at the U.S. Open, not a couple times, 6. He has 29 top 5s in majors. He has 40 top 10s. Like, the likelihood that even a Rory, Jordan Spieth is ever going to accomplish what Phil has accomplished is probably slim to none. And the one thing that makes Phil different than obviously Tiger is longevity. Like, he's 52. Now his body, and listen, I can relate to this, ebbs and flows with weight. But right now he looks pretty good. And he's never been injured golf-wise. Think how many great players just over the last decade have been injured. Hell, Will Zalatoris just had his back opened up. Jason Day broke down back injuries. Brooks Koepka, lower body, knee injuries, hip injuries. Tiger Woods, obviously countless injuries. A lot of guys get injured, especially in this day and age with how hard everyone swings. Well, Phil's always been one of the longest players, but he's had kind of this long, smooth swing. He's never battled injuries. He's battled other things, right? Suing the tour, talking shit about the Saudis and the tour at the same time, getting suspended / disappearing, but and at times playing poorly. But it's never like, Phil's on the shelf for 8 months with knee surgery, or, he's got a labrum issue, or his shoulder or his elbow's messed up. I'm sure he's had nicks and bruises over his career, but he's never battled major injuries. And you watch him this last tournament, he can still, and who knows, like, he's going to be in the majors for the foreseeable future because he won at Kiowa. Obviously, he's got a lifetime exemption to the Masters because he's won the Open Championship. He can play there till he's 60, so he's still got 8+ more years of that. And the PGA and the U.S. Open, he's going to play for years to come because of his recent major victory. Like, to me, in my lifetime, the 2 coolest majors were Tiger. It was 08 when Tiger won the U.S. Open and beat Rocco with the messed up knee. And it was 19 when he finally kind of completed his comeback, right? And he won the Masters with Charlie. I would put Phil Mickelson right behind that in 21. When Phil didn't just win Kiowa kind of out of nowhere as a massive, massive underdog, he took down Brooks Koepka, who at the time was easily the most accomplished guy, who had been winning majors, who had been going toe-to-toe with everybody. They played together in the last group. Phil beat him. Just like we're giving John Rahm a lot of credit for beating Brooks Koepka. Like, Brooks Koepka had kind of been MIA, had been out of sight, out of mind, and not playing very well because he's been injured. Like, that's not the guy Phil beat. Phil didn't beat some out of sight, out of mind guy. Phil beat the guy that everyone thought was going to win. Hell, I remember when they teed off, I'm like, I don't know if Phil's going to be able to hang on. Phil didn't just hang on, kind of kicked his ass. So what I think this weekend kind of brought back to light is Phil's an all-time great. I really think he's Peyton Manning and Tiger's Tom Brady. And Peyton Manning, in a weird way, feels underrated because of the era he played in. He just happened to play in the era with the greatest player of all time. And when you talk about all-time great quarterbacks like Marino, right? You start listing guys off. Favre, Rodgers. I don't think we put Peyton Manning high enough. Like, honestly, beside Montana, obviously Brady's 1, Montana's 2. Like, what the hell is the difference between Elway and Peyton Manning? Both have 2 Super Bowls. Both went to several and lost. Both ton of Pro Bowls. Both kicked everyone's ass in the regular season for a decade and a half. Like, I mean, they're basically the same guy. And you look at Phil, like, beside Jack, Arnie, and Tiger, and Gary Player, right? Like, who are you taking over Phil? Lee Trevino? Love Lee Trevino. Patting my game after him. Little baby cut. 6-time major champion. Take Phil's career. Definitely when you factor in longevity. So, very, very cool to watch. That Sunday with him and Jordan was just electric. And part of what, I mean, Jordan really is the modern day, younger version of Phil. What makes Phil so cool is it just can look crazy. He can fucking fire it into trees. He can do just shots that look like you and I. But the difference is when he finds himself behind a tree, he'll hit it over that fucking tree 3 feet from 190 yards and tap it in for birdie, And Jordan does the same stuff. At any single moment, you can look up after 5 straight birdies and the guy could be in 7 holes over because he just sprayed it, hit a rock, kicked over a green, and you're like, no one's ever been here all tournament long. And Jordan and Phil constantly find themselves right there. For guys that are, 2 of the greatest of their generations, they have some of the more relatable shots. And then they completely go unrelatable when they pull the miraculous cat out of the hat. And I enjoyed watching Phil. It was fun to have lefty back. Now, I missed the lefty. Imagine if Peyton Manning just never said anything. I actually think they parallel each other a lot. Like, Peyton is a massive personality, opinion-wise, always smiling, just kind of the life of the party. That was Phil. And it feels like he's lost that because his fastball, because of this whole LIV thing. And that comes with when you take the money in a controversial situation, you're suing the tour and you're acting like the tour is a bunch of village idiots. And who knows, maybe there's some validity to some of the stuff that he was talking about, but clearly he wasn't right on everything. And a big reason for his wealth was that tour for 25 years. And he wasn't the bus driver. That was Eldrick Tiger Woods. So it's a complicated situation, but very enjoyable to have him back. A couple other news and notes. Jason Day said last year at the PGA Championship when Tiger withdrew, one of the screws in his ankle was sticking out of the skin. Listen, I love Tiger Woods. I get more and more concerned that this is a sustainable thing. He can have moments just on individual holes where he's hitting at 320 yards. He's working balls both ways. He can hit fantastic wedge shots, but pro golf isn't one hole. Pro golf isn't 18 holes. Pro golf is 4 rounds, and he just can't really do that. And anytime the weather turns, it's game over. It's a wrap. And let's face it, a lot of times the weather does turn, definitely at the Open Championship. Augusta is very hit or miss. I mean, you could argue the U.S. Open consistently should be a very, very warm venue. The problem is it's typically the most difficult venue. And I just think that this is kind of the Tiger we're getting. Maybe you get a round out of him. And if the weather turns, whether it's plantar fasciitis, whether it's just, his back stiffening up, his ankle, he can just barely walk. It's tough. A ton of admiration for the guy. His toughness has never been, never seen anything like it in the sport he's in. He's really wired more mentally like he's a offensive guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers or Oakland Raiders in 1978. Which I think draws us to him, right? This version of him, because he's no longer the dominant, all-time great ass kicker that he was in the late 90s, 2000s. I think what you see now is a guy that just refuses to tap out. And anyone in any business who wants to achieve can, I don't know necessarily relate to it, but admire it. But also it's on the human side, it can be tough to watch. To see a guy that's just holding on for dear life. And, he mentioned it before the tournament. I don't know how many he's got left because he's going to be too prideful. He's never taken a cart, which I'd have no problem with. If you want to take a cart, man, but he's not going to. Another guy that's going to need to take a cart. And this shows you, we don't think about it. Like in football, we know at any moment your career could end or an injury can derail your career. In baseball, the moment you have elbow issues as a pitcher or whatever, it can be like, hopefully he's the same. Now, Tommy John, the modern medicine, it's made it easier for guys to bounce back. But Zalatoris was a guy, a lot of you guys in my DMs were like, take Zalatoris. He always plays well in majors, especially at Augusta. And then he withdraws immediately. And then a couple days later, he has a back surgery. And to me, there are 2 angles on this. First and foremost, it sucks. And anytime you get your back cut up on, I remember when I lived in the Bay Area and I was going to a lot of Warriors games. Remember 5-6 years ago, Steve Kerr, the second year the Warriors beat the Bulls record 72, he didn't coach a lot of those games. Luke Walton did because he was in so much pain after back surgery. And I remember him saying like anything you can. And he used to talk to Tiger Woods about it. And his message was like everything humanly possible, avoid back surgery. because it's not like a knee or an elbow. It's very, very complicated. I can't pretend to know a lot about it, but I know when guys get it that there's no guarantee that, just a year later, 100%. And Zalatoris is a guy in his mid-20s who looked like, the ceiling was, I don't know, unlimited. A guy that could win a couple majors, a guy that could win, have like a Justin Thomas type career, Jordan Spieth, like be one of the better Americans on tour. And now you just never know, man. You just don't. And this is the other thing about, I'm just going to say this over and over until this happens, and I don't think it's going to happen for the foreseeable future. You can't go all in on gambling, as the PGA Tour does, and have us just not know anything. I mean, know nothing, right? This guy, a lot of you put money on him. Now, you get your money back, but if you knew he had a back injury, you just would have bet on someone else. So this notion that he's trying, and then all of a sudden he withdraws, and then 2 days later he's under the knife, like, there's got to be some sort of report. It doesn't even need to be that in depth. It doesn't need to be like the NFL, but there has to be something of like, Will Zalatoris back, right? Questionable. You don't even need to put questionable, just back. So-and-so ankle, so-and-so wrist. You would just be less inclined to put money on the guy. And that is just not happening. And I think that's an area that Jay Monahan, the tour, these gambling companies, we need to come together and just get some sort of universal. I'm not a big hockey guy, though I respect the shit out of the sport. I think they just do lower body, upper body, even if it's something like that. But just some sort of injury report at the beginning of, maybe on like Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, that there's just an injury report. Guys in the field that lower body, upper body. I'd be fine with that. I'm not asking for the moon here. I'm just asking for basic information on guys who are legitimately hurt. And listen, I'm a big Will Zalatoris fan. Very jealous of the waistline, which is weird. Like, it's not like he's some overweight younger guy. If you told me John Rahm had back injuries, I'd be like, yeah, I could see it. Big guy carrying some weight. Will Zalatoris weighs like 160 pounds soaking wet. He's dealing with back injuries. And it's not like his swing is that violent. I know he swings hard, but it's kind of that Cam Young, just direct back swing to boom down. And man, never know. Last but not least, the Masters, the ratings were really high, and they were 20% higher than last year. Makes sense. I mean, controversy sells. And there's one thing, like, you could try to create controversy. My girlfriend loves Vanderpump, and I guess there's this girl that was sleeping with this guy while he was married. I can't even keep up. I don't really care. But I will say this. All of her friends, I see it on Instagram, like, that creates more interest, right? And you can't tell me LIV transcended golf. And I'll be the first, like, I'm in the football business. Golf is a niche sport, right? Football is this country's, it's our national pastime. It's the only thing we can all agree on. Last year, the NBA Finals struggled to get 10, 11 million people to watch. That's with the Boston Celtics, the second biggest brand in the sport, minus the Lakers historically, and Steph Curry. And they were struggling to get 10, 11, 12 million people to watch. So getting 12 million people to watch, now the Masters is the sports Super Bowl, it is a big deal. And I think the LIV, I think Koepka versus Rahm, Phil being in the mix, just the drama, obviously the event itself. But, we're never going to see, more than likely, Tiger Woods got 19 million people to watch in 2019. The Masters plus Tiger Woods equals, like, Patrick Mahomes playing a regular season game. But I do think this LIV element, you could argue, for the majors could be really good, because the only time of the year where we're going to get, Koepka, Phil, DJ, along with, Rahm, Spieth, right? Some of these guys. And it's cool. It's good for the sport, and it's going to be very interesting to see the television ratings for the other majors, because you're going to want LIV guys in the mix. I think the key is to have a couple LIV guys every single tournament. Just, they don't necessarily have to be leading like Brooks, but just in the last couple groups come the weekend. That adds, I don't even want to say controversy. It just adds interest. It does, because you can't go anywhere, even if you don't like golf. And if you're listening to this, you probably do. But, most people know about LIV. Most sports fans have, like, heard about LIV. Even if you're a big baseball fan, not a big golf guy. If you're a big basketball guy, you know about LIV Golf. So it's definitely going to have a short-term positive impact on the big tournaments, non-PGA, because there's RBC Heritage. There's none of the controversial guys are there. And we all know CW, like, let's face it, kind of boring. Like, the LIV is not getting us out of bed to turn on the television. But especially if you bet on Bryson DeChambeau and he's dead DFL. But that's good for the Masters.